he goes back to my family and says, why don't you free this poor woman? You have separated her from her husband and her son. He continued talking to them, trying to soften their hearts, right? Make them see his point. Like, what more do you want from her? At last, they said to me, go and join your husband if you wish. Now, she could not just leave and head towards Yathrib and join Abu Salamah radiallahu anhu, right? The baby. She needed the baby Salamah, right? She had to have baby Salamah with her if she was going to go anywhere. So the same man, he takes her to her husband's family, Abu Salamah's family, where the baby was, right? And he gives them the same talk. It worked. She was reunited with her baby finally after 1 year. Keep in mind, when Salamah was separated from her baby, she didn't know for how long she was going to be separated from her baby, right? But in that duration, we don't have any mention of her complaining. Like, why is this happening to me? Why isn't Allah doing anything about it? All she did was pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help her find a way. And yes, it came after a year, but it did come, right? So now, she did not want to stay in Mecca any longer. What if they change their mind, right? So she decides to go to Yathrib by herself, okay? It's crossing the desert by herself. A journey, now at that time, there are no cars, there are no buses, it's a camel, okay? So it would take her like about 10 days to cross the desert. A desert where at night all kinds of animals come out, right? Water is not so easily found, okay? And she has her infant baby with her, okay? But she had to do what she had to do. What do you think gave her this willpower? Think about it, and inshallah we'll discuss it more at the workshop, March 2nd, right? So she had just reached Tan'im, right? Tan'im is the place which is like 3 miles away from Mecca. And she meets someone whose name was Uthman ibn Abi Talha. He is not a Muslim at a time, but later on does become a Muslim, right? Years later, he does become a Muslim. But at the time, he's not a Muslim, okay? And he sees her and he says, where are you going, daughter of Zad al-Raqib? Why does he call her daughter of Zad al-Raqib? Was Zad al-Raqib her father's name? No, Zad al-Raqib, remember? I told you Arabs gave each other nicknames. So that was her father's nickname, Zad al-Raqib. What it meant was the ones who provided for the travelers, okay? So her father was very generous, and it is said that if anyone was ever traveling with him, all you needed to do is take yourself. Everything else he would provide. So he got that nickname, Zad al-Raqib, all right? So anyways, he asks her, where are you going? She says, I'm going to my husband in Yathrib. And he's like looking around and he says, and there is no one with you? What does she reply? How does she reply? No, wallahi, except Allah and my baby boy here. So Uthman at this time says, let me help you then. And he helped her reach Yathrib, right? Now, Salamah radiallahu anha, she narrates this entire incident and she talks about Uthman ibn Abi Talha also. Let's hear it in her own words where she says, I have, wallahi, never met an Arab more generous and more noble than he. When we reached a resting place, he would make my camel kneel down, wait until I got off, and then take the camel to a tree and tie it there. He would then go to the shade of another tree. When we had rested for a little bit, he would again get the camel ready and lead us on. This he did every day until we reached Yathrib. When we got to a village near Quba, he said to me, your husband is in this village. Enter it with the blessings of God. He then turned around and headed back for Mecca. What characteristic of Uthman ibn Abi Talha stands out to you? Keep in mind while you're thinking that he's not a Muslim at this time, All right, he belongs to the tribe, he belongs to the population in Mecca, which at this time is doing everything to make life difficult for the Muslims, right? And he is the one who actually brings her safely to Yathrib. So think about it, the manner in which he cared for her. And also, when they reached Yathrib, he made sure that she was at the right place. After he made sure